Hey y'all, I'm Tracy. Welcome to Just Dig It Farms. It is amazing how fast things grow in a week. I've been out of town for about 8 days. I went to the beach with my mom, my brother, sister-in-law, and nephew, Gene and his mom and dad, and our son Chance and Renee and our grandbaby came down for a few of those days. And we celebrated my grandbaby's first birthday. We had him a little birthday party at the beach condo, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. He had a very good birthday. Gene got a lot of the irrigation done while I was gone. He got the irrigation pipe run in all of the raised beds and all down the fruit berm, and he got it hooked up in a few of the other beds. So he's making really good progress on the irrigation, and I'm very, very happy about that because he's just sent me a link where Ryan Hall is talking about a heat wave is coming. And this is gonna be a record high heat summer for us. And I am not happy about that at all. I used to can handle the heat. Like, I loved the sun and the heat. I loved it, I craved it. And I could work out in it all day long. From early in the morning until late in the evening. Didn't matter if it was 90 degrees, 100 degrees, I could work out in it and be okay. I can't do it anymore. Last year I was diagnosed with Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism, and ever since I started struggling with all of that, I just cannot tolerate the heat. I get like super sick. I can't handle it. So I'm having to rearrange my schedule and routines and the way I do things. So anyway, I said all that to say I'm super excited that he is getting this irrigation set up, because that's going to make the difference in having an abundant harvest this year or everything burning up and dying and not getting harvest. So he worked on that while I was gone this week, and he still has a lot to do, but he got a lot done. Pop and Mom harvested the garden while I was gone. They sent me pictures of baskets and baskets of zucchini and squash and strawberries. Mom did a lot of cooking for Gene while I was gone. She took care of him and prepared a lot of meals for him. And it looked like they ate a lot out of the garden. So that really makes me happy. So one thing that makes me really unhappy is while I was gone, Gene killed another snake. There was a water moccasin in my greenhouse right here. And actually it was out there by my citrus pots. And then it came in here and it was striking at him. I've had enough of these snakes. Now I'm absolutely terrified to even walk in here. I'm tiptoeing around everything looking for snakes. I'm terrified. We're having a major issue with snakes this year. Major issue. So there was one under our beehives when we were harvesting. There was two right out here under one of my buckets, right by the greenhouse here, mating. I watched one out my window, out my kitchen window, going down the hill. He killed a baby rattlesnake laying on the rail of our back porch, like where I put my hand to put my shoes on. There was two snakes in our goat barn, one up on the shelf where we store our feed and our hay, and then there was a water moccasin in my greenhouse. So I'm freaking out, y'all. I am freaking out. We have water that surrounds our whole property except the front road. On this side of our property, all the way down and around, is a creek, a very large creek that never, I'm looking for snakes, that never runs dry. It's always flowing, it's always full, and it actually flows into the Alabama River. And then on the back side and all the way around this side, we have a natural branch, spring branch. So we have water on all three sides of our property. We have 9 acres of hardwood forest. So it's all wooded and foresty, and a lot of wildlife. We have a lot of wildlife, and I have a deep love and respect for wildlife, all wildlife, but snakes. I do not like snakes. It's like they're my fear. They're probably one of my greatest fears, and I am faced with them every day, everywhere I turn. And used to, a long time ago, when I was young, if I saw a snake in a spot, I would never go back to that spot. Like, I was so scared. But I don't have that choice anymore because I can't not come into my greenhouse. I'm going to walk in my woods. I'm going to go to my creek and absorb and, you know, be in nature. So I have to just face my fears, suck it up, and do whatever I've got to do or want to do anyway, and just pray over every step I take and pray for a hedge of protection around myself. I know to some of y'all that may seem ridiculous and silly, but I know that everybody out there who's watching this, you have a fear of something. I know you do, because you're human. So I know you have a fear of something, and you know what I'm talking about. Look at this cool hose pipe Jean got me. It's one of these flexi bendy things because it kept kinking up when I was in here and I couldn't really water good. This is awesome. He's out of town and I hadn't even told him thank you yet. So thank you, Jean. I love you. Thanks for thinking of me and getting this. Anyway, I know that you have a fear of something. And I'm just trudging carefully. And that's why I wanted to just kind of share this ridiculous story here to you today, because I am literally terrified right now. Let me get this set up. I am literally terrified right now. Like, I'm afraid it's hiding in these nooks. I'm scared. My heart's racing and I'm scared. But I'm not gonna let fear stop me. I'm not gonna let what I'm afraid of stop me from doing what I love to do. I'm just not. I'm not going to let the devil, because a snake is just like the devil to me, looking at the devil to me. I'm not gonna let the devil put fear in me and cause me to not do what I'm passionate about, to not do what I love, to not pursue dreams and goals, and you know, just hide myself up and lock myself away because I'm afraid of it or afraid of something. So that's kind of my little encouragement to you today. I know you're scared of something. I know you're afraid of something. Maybe it's failure, fear of failure. I know that fear well too. Fear of failure is another biggie for me. But if you let that fear stop you from trying, then you don't really know if you could have succeeded or not. I think that's one of the primary tools of the devil, is fear. If he can put enough fear in you about something, then it can stop you if you let it. Fear and confusion is definitely from the enemy. There's an awesome Christian song out there, "Fear is a liar," and it's true. It's so true. So the opposite of fear is courage and bravery. And you know, courage and bravery doesn't mean that you do the thing without being scared, or it just comes natural to you. You have no fear, you just do it. That's not what bravery or courage is. Bravery and courage is just doing the thing in spite of your fear. I used to be terrified of heights. Like, if I got on a ladder, my knees were just spaghetti noodles, and I was terrified of heights. So we led a mission team to Guatemala one year, where we did a medical mission team. And in Guatemala, we went to the Mayan ruins, the Mayan temples. There was one temple there that you could climb, and it was like the steps were super narrow, and I can't remember how many feet up it was. It was extremely, extremely high. And I decided that I was not going to let my fear of heights stop me from the adventure. So I climbed that temple. It was so high, so high. Now the whole way up, my knees were wobbling, I was shaking, I was scared to death. I wouldn't look back, I wouldn't look down, I just kept my eyes focused on that peak where I was trying to get to, and prayed a lot. And finally, I got to the top of that temple. On the way down was even scarier because it's very, very narrow steps. So I come down that temple on my butt all the way down. But I did it. I did it. And then after that, we went to another temple that was even higher, and I climbed it. And sometimes I'll get a little wheezy, a little wobbly, but that fear of heights doesn't really control me anymore. It don't stop me from doing those fun adventures. And that's because I made my mind up that day that I wasn't going to let fear keep me from enjoying the adventure with everybody else. So I did it, I conquered it, and now I'm okay. And it gets easier and easier every time I do something like that. Now this fear of snakes, I don't know that this is ever going to get easier. I'm still scared to death. I'm scared to pick that pot up. I'm afraid there's going to be one under it. But I'm definitely not going to let a snake keep me from doing what I love. These are all little 4-inch herbs from our Hoff's Medicinal Herb Seed Collections. The seeds that I started this year that I haven't finished planting yet. So Dean brought them all out of the greenhouse for me and put them right out here under our grape arbor to shade them a little bit. They were getting too hot in there. More plants to get planted this weekend. I think next week's video we'll do a little tour of the medicinal herb garden and talk about some of the herbs and their uses. My friend Catherine over at G&G Farms, if y'all aren't following her, y'all go check her out. I'll put a link in the description. She's getting into herbs and growing her own medicine, and she's been asking me some really good questions about growing and using herbs. So I think next week's video, we'll take a look at the medicinal herb garden and we'll talk about some of the herbs in our collection. My garden shed is another place that I'm scared of snakes in, because right behind it is the forest and it's kind of snaky, and I'm always afraid there's going to be one in there. Never has been yet, but I'm still very, very cautious when I go in there. Let's go see if there's any more squash or zucchini to harvest today. Ooh, that scared me. It was a lizard. I'm a little bit jumpy today. So as I was saying, let's go see if there is any more squash and zucchini ready to harvest. Boy, this garden has taken off just in 1 week while I was gone. Look at this. It's so jungly. I love it. And there's a lot of things blooming that wasn't blooming when I left here. This is another spot snakes would love to be, hiding under all these big, luscious, shady leaves. So I'm just gonna look. I wish I had me a little hoe. I should have brought a little hoe over here and just kind of stuck it down in there. But let's see. I can do this. It's always an achievement if you can harvest your zucchini before they turn into baseball bats. This is something that I always preach and teach, but I never actually do a good job at practicing it. I always talk about leaving good pathways so that you can get in and harvest your vegetables without stepping on them. And I always think I'm doing a good job, and then they end up growing together and it's a jungle every time. The dahlias have started blooming a little bit. This is the ones from the Floret collection. Look at this yellow one blooming. Echinacea's blooming. So I need to get out here, and we'll probably do this on next week's video, get out and harvest some of the leaves and the flowers, because I am out of Echinacea tincture. We've taken it all and I need to make some. Maybe we can work on that together next week. Oh, these zinnias, these Floret zinnias. This one is Precious Metals and Rose Gold Celosia. Stunning, absolutely stunning. I don't know if you can really tell it, but it has this really antique-y peach color to it. Not only are they beautiful in the garden, but they make a gorgeous arrangement. I cut some and made up a little arrangement for our farm table live that we do on Monday nights. And I'm telling you what, y'all, it is beautiful. So beautiful. You just don't find these colors, and that's what I loved about her collections. If y'all aren't joining us on Monday nights, Jean and I are doing a live every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We invite y'all to join us at our farm table, pull up a chair, and we chat all about gardening, farming, life, just stories, and it's a lot of fun. This past Monday night, Jean's mom and dad joined us, and they actually sang gospel music, and it was just a fun time. So, bug flew right in my mouth. If y'all aren't joining us for Monday Night Lives, please come join us. We would love to have you and chat with you. These zinnias are Victorian Wedding. This celosia is pink chenille, and so far it's turning out to be more predominant yellow. So I don't know if I'm going to end up liking this one. We'll see how it turns out as it opens up. Look at my butterfly pea. My goodness, it has really taken off since I left. And we've got one little blue butterfly pea flower. This is all of the winter squashes and volunteer sunflowers. They're going crazy. This is the pepper patch, and look at all this stinking pigweed. I had all of this out of here before I left, and this is what's happened just since I've been gone. Year before last, I got some compost that brought in pigweed seed. It was terrible, and I kept pretty good control of it that year. Last year, it reseeded and came back up again. And I was sick last year, and I could not keep control of it. And Gene was in the middle of building his mom and dad's tiny house. We had just moved them down, and he was building their tiny house. And he just did not have time to help me in the garden because he works full time, and any free time he had, he was working on their house trying to get them settled. So the pigweed took over my garden last year, and it went to seed before we could get out here and get it all pulled and cleaned up. So this year, it is coming up with a vengeance. I tarped these beds over the winter. I weed them as soon as they come up. I'm trying to keep them pulled out, and they're just ruthless. Pigweed is ruthless. If you ever see it come up in your garden, do your best to get it out of there before it goes to seed, because it is going to be my nightmare this year. But I'm not going to let the pigweed or the armadillo that's just trying to destroy my garden or my fear of snakes stop me from this being a wonderful, happy, joyous garden season. Not gonna let it. The tomatoes have grown a lot. I've got to get in here and do a little pruning and some tying up. These are doing good too over here. This is the unicorn mix zinnia, and I've got my first little bloom right here. Woo, look at that vibrant tangerine orange pink color. These are my Amish paste tomatoes, and they have a lot of fruit on them already. They are developing some nice fruit. Nice. This is purple hull peas and my calendula, and it's starting to bloom really good. This one is the strawberry blonde. These over here struggled a little bit, but they're doing good now. And this is the Prince Mixes. The Prince Mix calendula. Isn't that gorgeous? Ooh, I got to get out here and start harvesting. Ooh, y'all look at the blackberries. Oh yeah. These are turning red. So from there, when they get good and black, they're gonna be delicious. We're gonna have some blackberries this year. I am excited. Yesterday I found this recipe on Instagram. It's blackberry holy basil syrup. So we are going to be harvesting our honey, not this weekend, but next weekend. We're gonna do a big honey harvest, which I'm so excited about because last year we didn't have any honey. We had a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm excited we're gonna have a good harvest. So I think instead of maple syrup, I'm gonna use our honey and make a blackberry holy basil honey. That's gonna be delicious on, I don't know, like in tea. It would be really good in tea. I don't know if it'd be good on pancakes or not. I don't know if that holy basil would be the flavor that I would want on my pancakes, but I'm gonna try it. I don't know. If y'all ever tried that, let me know. But I ran across that and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna have an abundance of holy basil. I'm gonna have an abundance of blackberries this year, and I'm gonna have an abundance of honey. So I'm gonna give that recipe a shot, and I'll tell y'all how it goes. It's almost time to plant my gourd seeds on my gourd tunnel here. I'm trying to time it just right so that I'll be harvesting little baby gourds around September 14th for our Great Fall Garden Festival this year. Y'all make plans. September 14th, 9 to 5 at Petals from the Past in Jemison, Alabama. We will be holding our second annual Great Fall Garden Festival. I would love to see y'all there. So I'm trying to time it just right and plant my gourds when they'll be ready for harvest around that event. Look at my cog-heel sunflowers. Woo, they're growing. Look at my sunflowers. Wow, they have taken off while I was gone. That's going to be gorgeous. It's in the shape of a rainbow right here. And I've got my cog-heel sunflowers, and then these are sweet potatoes, and I ran out, so I went and picked up another flat the other day, and I'm gonna plant them right here. So that'll be all sunflowers and sweet potatoes. And these sunflowers are beautiful in the collection. I planted every one of the ones in the collection right here. Gonna be spectacular. Here's more over here on this side. These are the smaller ones that's in the collection. I want to say they're called teddy bear. I can't remember. My fruit trees are doing well. Oh, look at my, I just saw them. Look at my Kentucky Wonder pole beans. They are climbing. Yes. We just built this addition of the fence and garden right here early spring this year. So I wanted to go ahead and pop in some Kentucky Wonder pole beans because we eat a lot of beans, and I wanted a lot to can. So I used this space to grow some beans. As soon as I harvest these, I'll pull all of that out, and I'm going to be planting muscadines right here. So they'll be permanently right here will be muscadines. And then we're gonna have to come up with some more trellis systems somewhere to be able to grow enough beans for all of us. The yarrow is looking so beautiful right now. Look at all of the little insects on here. These are all beneficial insects. Let's just look down through here a little bit because there's a lot going on this side. There's echinacea, our coneflower. Look at Maggie. Woo, isn't she pretty? Smells heavenly. Catmint. More echinacea. A beautiful white fragrant rose. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. It is F-R-A-U Coral Druski, I think maybe. I'm gonna ask Jason when I go back to Petals how to pronounce this correctly. It was a new rose that he had, so I had to give it a try, and it's gorgeous and so fragrant. My mom wants one of these for Mother's Day, so I'm gonna go by and pick her one up in the next 2 weeks. And then I'm gonna go spend a couple of days at her house working on her garden. My mom bought a nice house, and like a townhouse, and it has a beautiful garden in the backyard, like a little courtyard garden. And it needs some work, it needs some love. So for Mother's Day, I'm gonna go spend a late Mother's Day. I'm gonna go spend a couple of days with her. I'm gonna get this rose for her, spend a couple of days with her, and help her tidy up her garden a little bit. Now, I plan to bring y'all along with me and let y'all see her beautiful little garden. I harvested my garlic and my onions before I left for my trip, and I've had them sitting out, laid out on my porch, just kind of curing a little bit, letting them develop that paper shell around the garlic cloves and the paper shell around the onions. It just helps them to store better. So I've had them sitting on the porch, and I'm slowly working on processing them all, and I'm just cutting off the stem and the roots and just kind of brushing off the dirt a little bit. I'm not too concerned about the dirt because it's on the paper shell, and when I go to use them, it'll be clean. It won't matter. So right now I'm working on my garlic. When I get it done, I'm gonna work on my onions. I grow hardneck and softneck garlic. They store pretty good. The softneck garlic will store longer than the hardneck garlic. I usually end up with garlic for about 6 months that I can use this garlic. And I always end up with a whole lot of extra that goes bad. Now, I do set some aside. Some of the best, nicest garlic cloves, I'll set them aside as my seed garlic to plant this coming up fall. But I still end up with a lot of garlic that goes bad before I can actually use it. So this year, I'm going to try and preserve some of this garlic. Plan is to dehydrate some and make some garlic powder and maybe some garlic salt. And I'm going to put some up in olive oil. I did that a couple of years ago. I used a garlic press and crushed it and put it in olive oil, and I kept it in my refrigerator. And just whenever I wanted to use it, I could just scoop out a teaspoon of garlic and olive oil, and worked out pretty good. It actually lasted a long time too. So I think I'm gonna try that again. I'm going to be using it in some of my canning. I'll be using a lot when I can my salsa and my spaghetti sauce and different things like that. But I'm still gonna have some left over that's gonna go bad before I use it. So I'm gonna research some other ways to preserve my garlic. If y'all know of any good ideas or good ways, let me know in the comments. So talking about fears, there's all different kinds of fears, things that we're afraid of. Fear of snakes in my case, fear of mice, rats, spiders, fear of water, fear of heights, financial fears, fear of losing loved ones. There's all kinds of different fear of change, fear of failure. There's all kinds of different things that we're afraid of. And I'll be transparent and share with y'all my biggest fears. Well, you know already is snakes. Terrified of snakes. But my biggest fear has always been losing my loved ones. You know, losing Jean, losing my children, now my grandchildren, my mom, Jean's mom, family, brothers, losing my family. And I've lost quite a few people that I dearly love. I lost my dad, that I was very, very close to. Lost my grandmom. I lost Jean's brother, Bill. We lost him at a young age. And it is inevitable. I mean, we're all going to die at some time. So it's going to happen. So I've always kind of had to work through that, especially when my boys were young and out there doing stuff. You know, I always had a real fear that something could possibly happen to them. But that fear has tremendously strengthened my faith. I had to, you know, work through that and learn to give my family to God, trust Him with them, and know that they were in His hands and He was in control of their life and He would take care of them. So whenever I get that overwhelming worrisome feeling that something's, going to happen to somebody, then I immediately go to God and pray and ask Him for protection, and that He would just cover them and protect them and keep them safe. And that has tremendously built my faith and my trust in the Lord. It's a real fear, it's a real fear that I have, and I have to work through when it consumes me. But I have the assurance, I truly believe that my closest loved ones are saved, and I will be with them in heaven, so for eternity. So that is peace for me. So my number one fear is losing my loved ones. My second fear is fear of snakes. And my third biggest fear is fear of failure. I am a bit of a perfectionist. It is a gift and a curse, I think. I always have had this mentality that if you can't do something excellent, then don't waste your time doing it. And I've always just kind of operated on that. But the thing with that, and it's good because it drives you to do better and to do good and to do great things. But it also is paralyzing, because there's a lot of things in the beginning. It takes me a lot to jump in and do it because I can't be perfect at the beginning. You have to practice and you have to do something to get better and to get perfect at it, if there is a such thing. Just like this YouTube channel. We have been doing YouTube for 5 years now. 5 years. April the 20-something was our 5-year anniversary of doing YouTube. And, I didn't just wake up one day and decide, hey, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I thought about it for over 2 years. Like, I studied it, I prayed about it, I wrote videos and content down. I got a book of content that I wrote before I ever even started the channel. Like, it took a lot for me to start the channel, to do that first video. In fact, the first video was Peggy Martin, and it's pretty sad. It's not great. But I did it. And from there, I did another and another. And they were not perfect. They were not good. They're still not perfect videos. And they're still not great, extraordinary videos. It took a lot for me to step out of the boat and start this YouTube channel, because I was afraid that it wouldn't be good. I was afraid that nobody would watch. I was afraid that we wouldn't get subscribers. I was afraid that we would get ugly comments, I don't know. I was afraid that I would fail at it. So it took me a long time to get out of my boat and do it, and step out in faith and do it. And what if I would have gave in to that fear, and I would not have started this YouTube channel because I was too scared to? Well, then I wouldn't have this online relationship with y'all. We've met so many wonderful people through this YouTube channel. I wouldn't be friends with Jason and Brooke, or Zach and Jacqueline, or all of my YouTube friends. I wouldn't have met many of you. I wouldn't have been able to have these conversations with y'all. And I wouldn't have been able to share my gift and my talent that God gave me. And I believe that He gives all of us our gifts and our talents to share and encourage others. And this has been a great platform to do that. If I would have gave in to my fear and not ever started this, then I wouldn't know many of you. I think about that a lot, especially when I'm scared to do something, because I know it's not going to be excellent, and it's going to be messy, and it's probably not going to be good, and I may possibly fail. Then I think about things like starting the YouTube channel? What if I never would have tried it, you know? And there's things right now that I'm moving into doing that I'm very scared to do because I might fail. It might not be good. But I'm working towards pressing through and walking in courage and bravery and doing the thing, trying it, doing my best. So now you guys know a little secret about me. You know my 3 big fears. But my encouragement to you today is don't let fear stop you from doing what you love, what you're passionate about, what you feel called to do. Just move in the direction that you want to go. Face that fear. Don't let that fear stop you. Move into it with confidence and bravery and courage, even though your knees are knocking and your heart's racing and your mouth's dry and you're terrified and you're shaking. Just move in, do it, go for it, try your best, and if you fail, it's okay. You know, it's okay. If we fail at something, it's okay. That don't really mean we're failures. That just means that, you know, we got to keep trying, or maybe that wasn't the thing we were supposed to do, but we will never ever know unless we put on our courage hat and we just move in and face the thing with courage and bravery. Don't let fear stop you from pursuing your dreams and doing the things that you love and that you feel called to do and you feel purposed to do and that you want to do. Don't let fear stop you. I had no idea what this video was going to be about today, y'all, and I usually do. I usually know what direction the video is going to go in. Sometimes I have it outlined, you know, I usually know what the video is going to be about. I had no idea today, and I think that was for a purpose, because I think that maybe somebody needed this encouragement. So I hope this has been an encouragement for you today, and I hope to see y'all back here next week, where I'm pretty sure we're going to take a look at the medicinal herb garden, and we're going to dive into some of the herbs and how to use them. I hope you all have a beautiful, courageous week. God bless you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10.